Yeah, the students, the 17 and 18-year-old students run the dueling committee, which decides everything from, like, grades to, like, who you're going to marry. It's fucking bonkers. Terrible school.
Libertarian venture capitalists started a school, tell me this isn't what it would be like. Except if this happened in real life and a bunch of libertarian venture capitalists started a school, then the duels would be like if Pokemon were NFTs, or like if Yu-Gi-Oh were NFTs. You know, that's what it would be.
Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm the part of the robot that kills you.
And this week, we launch into Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Before we duel for our classmates' hands in marriage, you can you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, signing up for our monthly newsletter through the link in our show notes, or following us on Twitter and Tumblr at MortifiedPod.
And you can leave us a review on iTunes. I'm gonna say that again. You can leave us a review.
It would be nice.
We haven't had one in a while, and usually they're all very sweet. So
yeah,
please.
Say nice things to us. Leyla?
Aaron?
Do you remember the last time we watched a Gundam?
I remember that we were bored.
Yes. And here's the thing. You've only watched half of this season of Witch from Mercury. I watched all of it. And we'll see if this comes up, but like I felt kind of a little bit of a similar boredom in the second half of this the show, but like I think that the part that we're talking about today did not have any of that boredom.
No, I honestly was kind of expecting to be bored again, so I was like setting up to multitask, but no, it hooked me right in.
I'm glad, because I just, a lot of people on tabletop Twitter were really talking this show up, and we were going to do a different anime that turns out was not very interesting, so this was just kind of a last-minute schedule change, but I'm glad it seems to have worked out.
Yeah, I'll call it out. We were going to do Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and then I watched it, and I said, we're not talking about it on this show.
Fair. I mean... Do you, just up top, what do you think was more interesting about this one than the previous Gundam? Which I believe was I'll go look it up exactly, but it was the one that was running on Toonami in the aughts.
One of the ones that was running on Toonami
yes.
in the aughts, yeah. There were many, many, many Gundam
There's
shows.
a lot of Gundams.
Yeah, chances are if you watched Toonami in the aughts, you couldn't throw a rock without hitting either a Gundam or a Dragon Ball. So, the thing I found really interesting about the format so far is that there's never, for me, any doubt that Suletta, our main character, is gonna win whatever duel she's being challenged to. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no tension in the fighting for me whatsoever. There's a tension in, like, ooh, how's she gonna do it this time? Mm-hmm. The tension for me is in this little bumpkin showing up and exposing everyone's family trauma to them in a way that it's never been exposed to them before. Which is just like a fun little thing she does. She shows up and she's like, wow, your parents are really mean to you. And then the other character is like, wow, my parents are really mean to me.
Wow, my dad doesn't believe in me, and that does hurt my feelings. I'm going to stop being a misogynist.
Hey, however you want to stop being a misogynist, that's your journey, baby.
Yeah,
I'm just happy to see you at the destination.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. The show starts out pretty good. I think there's a pretty good, 22 episode or 22-minute episode here, which is the prologue. Basically what happens is we have the parents of Suletta Mercury who work for a group called Vanadis. And basically it starts out this program is untethered from all the rest of Gundam, or rather, all of the Gundams are like probably tangentially connected, but like it doesn't like continue on its own. It's not a part of an ongoing continuity. So in this world, Gundams are part of like medical prosthetic technology. like it's connected to your nervous system in a way that like you can basically pilot it with your nerves and your mind. And its original purpose was to be for medical purposes. However, as many things that are robot based do, especially in the Gundam universe, it also got repurposed into technology to create and to pilot big machines. And that's this one company, the Venatus Institute. That's their whole deal. They create these Gundams. And the day that we open this episode on, there's a bunch of people who want to stop them because the problem with Gundams is that they kill the people who drive them, which seems bad. Oops. Listen, I don't know. To be fair, every time I open Twitter, I do feel a little part of my soul die. Like, I can feel my blood vessels in my face and forehead kind of activate and get all red. So, like, I don't know that's like that much different from the technology we have going on today. But also, you know, that's the justification they have for shutting down the Venatus Institute. There's this guy who runs what's called the Cathedra, which there's like some weird like witch trial imagery going on here. At one point, somebody actually like specifically says like the Hammer of Witches, which is the Malleus Maleficarum, which is like a book that was used in like the I don't know, I want to say 15th century to like actually conduct witch hunting trials. But like basically they're witch hunters, this Cathedra group, and they go to the Venatus Institute and they kill everybody there. But we see how our main character's mom escapes. Basically, Suletta, who, you know, right now her name is Eri. She's 4 years old. She's having her birthday. She's very excited, but then, you know, her dad has to take a call, and she's very upset by that because her parents are always working, and it's her birthday, and she's a 4-year-old, and she just wants to eat her strawberry cake. So she goes to go yell at the mech that's ruining her birthday, which is very cute. And, you know, she kind of has, her mom explains it to her, like, you know, this mech is your little sister. You know, you've got to take care of her. Like, this is your family. And because of the love of this child, that's the only, there's not like another reason. It's basically like the child's talking to it, right? It you know, there's like a weird software issue with it, but Eri cleans it up, and then they're able to pilot it away and escape. It's kind of a gutting. So Gundam is the original meme where you go, wow, cool robot, and then the robot is shooting over your head, and the over your head message is war is bad. But like, there is something really gut punching about like having 4-year-old Eri just be like 1, 2, 3, and it's like shooting lasers out, and it's like exploding people in their own mech suits.
Ender's Game could fucking never. You know what I mean?
Listen, Orson Scott Card is many things, but he is not on this level.
No. Ender's Game really tried this shit, but you know what? I think The Witch from Mercury really, it was like a gutting scene. I think you really hit the nail on the head with that adjective. Like, watching her mom, like, in real time try to process what her little daughter was doing, and she's like, isn't it beautiful, mama? It's like candlelight. Mm-hmm. Unhinged.
Yeah, she's just like, my husband's about to die. And he does, but not before singing happy birthday to his daughter over the PA. And I
cried. Oh, this got me.
It's pretty rough. It's a really great way to start your anime, but whew.
Yeah, it got me. It really did. And like about halfway through the episode, because I went in basically completely blind. I knew nothing about the show. I haven't seen anything from it or about it. I like figured out halfway through the episode, I was like, I bet the little girl's the protagonist. Either that or she's gonna die, and that's gonna galvanize the mom. It's one of the two. And, man, when I kind of figured out that this was, like, the prologue and the shit was about to go south in a really big way, I was like, wow. The happy birthday really took me out, especially when she starts singing with him.
Yeah, it's brutal. Anyway, you know, that's kind of setting up the whole main threat in this first season is that Gundams are illegal. And Suletta's mom, Eri changes her name to Suletta Mercury, which they go into hiding on the planet Mercury. It's a little bit if I went into hiding, I wouldn't change my name to like Ace Earth. Like that wouldn't be my name. It's a little bit much, but
It's a little on the nose, yeah.
Sure. Anyway, but that's kind of the main thing, is that Gundam technology is considered illegal, even though everybody is still like secretly trying to access it. But then we get the first episode, The Witch and the Bride, which this is the only thing I knew about this, is that tabletop people think it's good and there's lesbians in it. And boy, is this show sapphic, because the first thing that happens is, Suletta, now 17, is going to a new school. It's the stupid name, Astacacia School of Technology.
Sure.
It's basically like if a bunch of libertarian venture capitalists founded West Point. Just the worst possible educational institute.
Yeah, that's pretty apt. That's exactly what's happening.
It seems terrible, and we'll talk about why. But basically, the first thing we see is Suletta is about to go to school, and she sees like somebody in a spacesuit floating in space, and she's like, "Oh no, I gotta help!" She goes, finds them, brings them into her cockpit, and they immediately headbutt her. And she's like, I hate your guts. I was trying to escape. Why did you do this to me?" And this person is Miorine Rembrandt, who not only is she's basically like the best business major at school. That's her whole deal. But also her dad is the president of the Benerit Group, I believe is the name of the company. But basically it's like a very powerful company. Her dad is Delling Rembrandt, but he's also like the guy who made Cathedra. And like basically is responsible for the death of Miorine's dad. That's probably going to be fine. That's probably not going to cause any problems.
For Suletta's dad?
Suletta's dead, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, anyway. But basically they have this conflict. She's like, I was trying to escape because the school sucks shit and my dad runs it and he, he's going to make me marry whoever the fucking best duelist at the school is. Oh, by the way, everything in this school is solved by dueling. With mechs.
Yeah. There's like a duel committee and everything.
Yeah, students, the 17 and 18-year-old students run the dueling committee, which decides everything from like grades to like who you're going to marry. It's fucking bonkers. Terrible school.
Libertarian venture capitalists started a school. Tell me this isn't what it would be like. Except if this happened in real life and a bunch of libertarian venture capitalists started a school, then the duels would be like if Pokemon were NFTs or like if Yu-Gi-Oh were NFTs. That's what it would be.
Right. And also the people making decisions wouldn't actually be students. They'd be like, 40-year-old people who like to go out in the who think that roads shouldn't be public. It'd be like that. They wouldn't trust the students with that because libertarians are terrible. Anyway, basically this becomes a problem when she meets the person that is going to be Miorine's fiance, Guel Jaturk.
The fucking names.
If you want to get a guy that's like, oh, this guy sucks ass, you name him Guel Jaturk probably.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
Jaturk.
It's like you can't. It's so close to Gruel, right? Which, like, listen, Japanese, right? This wasn't written in English originally. This is obviously
Gruel or fuel or both.
Yeah, it's. You're really crushing it with these names, because it sounds like Gruel Jerk, right?
They basically named him Jet Fuel.
Jet Fuel, Gruel, like all these associations, like really good. Like not since Glup Shido have we seen naming conventions like this.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if in the latter half of the season I encounter a Glup Shido.
There's some interesting folks in the second half. But yeah, basically, he comes and he's like, "Hey, Miorine, I noticed that you keep trying to escape. Why don't you come live with me?" It's like, hey, that seems bad. You shouldn't probably be able to force your other students to live with you. And Suletta's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he like starts breaking Miorine's greenhouse. where she like cultivates tomatoes because she, it reminds her of Earth and like she wants to escape to Earth. And to get him to stop, Suletta smacks him on the ass really hard. And he's like, what the fuck did you just do to me? And she's like, didn't your mom teach you any She's also like very much there's a name for this kind of character that's like a very nervous, kind of like stuttering when they speak. Hinata is my touchstone from Naruto is this kind of character, but that's what Suletta's personality is like. So she's like not very confident, but she does stand up for Minorine here.
She's definitely, it feels like she's an alien learning human conventions. Like, it feels like she has not grown up around other children ever at all.
Right.
And I think she has like a little wish list for what she wants to do at school. I think that betrays that as well. But she does, like, you can see, I think the show does a pretty good job of like when she gets more comfortable with people, she stutters less and she becomes more confident. And the other thing is she doesn't really let herself get pushed into things she necessarily doesn't want to do. She does express her like wants and desires to other people. She's like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to fulfill my wish list, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. So yeah, she's very nervous, but I actually quite like the way she's characterized. She's my little baby.
No, Suletta's my favorite character in this. Like normally I go for the mean girl. And listen, I love Miorine, but Suletta is extremely charming throughout all of this. So, shout outs to Suletta. But yeah, also, there's a side plot where Guel's dad is trying to put a bomb on the shuttle of Suletta's dad.
Miorine's dad.
Miorine's dad, because that will kill him, and that means that since he's engaged to Miorine, he'll inherit the presidency of the Benneret group, and then they'll be rich. Which is wild. But basically, Suletta's like, okay, I'm going to challenge you to a duel to leave Miorine alone. Guel is the best duelist in the school. He agrees. And Miorine is about to go fight him, but then she realizes that her mech's been stolen by, Suletta realizes her mech's been stolen by Miorine. And Miorine is about to fight Guel. But she doesn't know how to pilot the damn thing because she's a business major and not a pilot major. And she's getting her ass kicked pretty bad. But then Suletta comes out there on basically like a turbo scooter. It's like a razor scooter, basically. She goes out into the middle of the battlefield, gets inside the mech. And she's like, hey, let me pilot my own damn robot. And then she just completely whoops up on him. It's really cool. There's a bunch of what they call Gundam bits, which are basically like little floaty drones, and they shoot a bunch of lasers, and they just completely own him. It's really good. And at the very end, Guel's defeated. Her Suletta's uniform changes to like this white and gold trimmed school uniform, and she's like, what just happened? And Miorine's just like, well, that's the uniform of the holder, the uniform of my fiance. And Suletta's like, but I'm a girl. And Miorine's like, you Mercurians are so conservative. That sort of thing happens here all the time. And it's like, anyway, it's nice to meet you, my groom. And it's just like, oh shit. Oh wow. They're just really, episode 1, just confirmed lesbian engagement. Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I was glad to see it. It's great. It was this whole sequence whooped so much ass to me because, like, truly the moment she gets into that Gundam, she, immediately is like, what is it, Arian? What is her?
Ariel is the name of the Gundam.
Yeah,
and
Ariel.
If you know anything about Gundam, like the red, white, and blue Gundam ass-looking Gundam, like, it's just that one. The one that appears in every Gundam.
Yeah, so Ariel, she's always like, she's not just a mech, she's my family. And it's just really cute because she gets in and just immediately whoops the shit out of Guel. And it just feels good until the next episode happens, at which point it starts to feel very bad.
Yeah. I mean, you're the animation expert here. I think all the fights in this look pretty cool.
Oh, they look great.
Yeah, there's just a lot of like lasers and robots dancing around, and occasionally laser sword clashes. Great time all around. It's Gundam, and like this is kind of the problem that I had with the other Gundam that we watched, which is that there were actually not that many Gundam fights. This one kind of has the Gundam fights all built into it with the shitty school, because there's duels all the time. So that does kind of circumvent the need to like keep having a fight, inventing a reason for a fight. It's just like kind of already have it all built into the story. But anyway, basically, we learn in episode 2 that they are going to have to like have a trial because they suspect that her robot is a Gundam, and that's bad. And basically, what happens is I'm reading. Basically, they jail her, Miorine, or no, Suletta. I keep getting them confused. They put Suletta in jail, where she's visited by a student named Elan Ceres. He's a weirdo.
I love Ellen. I do.
He grows
Elon,
on you.
Ellen, who knows?
Yeah. It's not Elon. We can't say Elon. It's Elan. We want to be very clear. But basically, he's just like, oh, I want to learn more about you, weird girl. And basically, there's a trial. Miorine's dad's there, and he's just like, you have a Gundam, even though it doesn't have all the things that make it a Gundam. It's a Gundam. Fuck you. It's a Gundam because I say it is. He sucks so bad.
And her mom shows up.
Her mom's there.
Yeah, her mom shows up, and she's just dyed her hair, and she has this cool headpiece now, where she's just like, oh, look at me, I'm Mercury. The atmosphere is just torn apart my body. Well, this isn't a Gundam arm. Absolutely not. No, I'm a normal human woman doing human woman things on Mercury, and my robot is not a Gundam. It uses drones, you silly.
Yeah. But basically, it's about to all go south when Miorine charges into the courtroom and is just like, fuck you, Dad, fight me. Which is really good. I think that all CEOs should have to fight their children. And basically, due to the attempted bombing of the guy's shuttle, which didn't go off because the Guel lost the duel, say that 5 times fast, and Suletta's mom blackmailed Guel's dad into, being on her side for this court hearing. So basically, Dylan's like, okay, fine, I'm going to have Guel fight your daughter again, I guess. Not only we're going to have this school in the middle of nowhere dictate this business courtroom deal. I don't understand the politics and laws of this Gundam universe at all. It's wild.
I don't think I want to. I think I'm content with the vibes.
Yeah. Episode 3, we get probably obviously there's a fight here, but my favorite part in episode 3 is where we learn about Miorine's school list of things she wants to do when she goes to school. Suletta, fuck, I keep saying Suletta is the red-haired one.
Yes.
But like basically she's like, I don't want to duel. I want to do like normal teen shit, like make friends. Number 1, make friends. Number 2, call them by nicknames. Number 3, study in the library. Number 4, eat lunch on the roof. Number 5, go on dates.
And that's just the top 5, because we do find out about number 12, exchange contact information.
Yes, which is exchanging contact information. Later on, there is one where it's like, tell a joke that makes everyone laugh. She's so cute. I love her so much.
She's just a baby.
She's just a perfect baby who drives a death machine.
That's fine.
But like, she's just like, and I don't want to duel because I can't go on. I want to be able to date now because once I'm married to you, apparently I'm not going to be able to go on dates. And to her credit, Miorine is like, why not? I don't give a shit. Incredible. I love Miorine and Suletta's relationship. This is why you shouldn't get engaged with your teens.
It's not even enemies to lovers. It's just like confusion to lovers. It feels like.
It's great. It's very good.
They're so silly.
But basically, there's this conversation. Guel is about to, he's getting ready to fight. He's given a new mech, and his dad installs like a decision-making AI on the mech, which means that it'll fight the battle for him. And that hurts his feelings a bit, because it's like, wow, Dad, you don't even think I can beat this girl again? And he's like, no, just fucking let the machine drive. And furthermore, when this fight actually does happen, There's a bunch. Somebody sets off the sprinkler system, which affects Suletta's like beam weapons, so they aren't as effective. And Ariel, her mech, is completely dependent on beam weapons, so it's like a big deal. And that means it's like basically rigged. And Guel also sees this. He's like, wow, they even rigged this. Like, my dad doesn't trust me even this far. But like, thankfully, Miorine finds out who is turning on the sprinklers, gets in a robot and threatens to kill them, and shuts the sprinklers off. Suletta is able to defeat Guel, but before the battle, ends, he's like, fuck this AI. He takes over and drives by himself again, and he actually almost gets her, but they do another battle, and of course, Suletta wins. Like, listen, Suletta is not going to lose fights here. It's not really her thing. She's the protagonist. But that's kind of, we'll talk about that, but like, mech stories are like more about the people in the mechs than the actual mech fights themselves. It's more about feelings, I think, than anything else. At least in this show, certainly. I'm not, unfortunately, a mecha expert, but like Pacific Rim is probably, one of my biggest mecha touchstones, and like that is all about feelings, baby.
It's all about feelings. No, it's like I said earlier, like it's just very interesting because you're never worried she's gonna lose, but you are like, what is gonna be the consequence of her winning?
Right. Guel, after being defeated, immediately proposes to Suletta.
Baby boy, what?
You ever get your ass beat by a woman so bad that you have to marry her?
And on a real note, does anybody want to? Because I'll gladly.
Yeah, you can add us at Mortified Pod on Twitter. Anyway, Suletta immediately rejects him in episode 4, and everybody's like, wow, I can't believe you turned down Guel. It must be because you're in love with Elan. It's weird. We'll get into Elan in a sec, but basically there's a test that happens. This is where we get into some more of the politics of the show. We're seeing that there's a divide between the Spatians and the Earthers. Basically, the Earthers are people who still live on Earth, and the Spatians are people who live in space, the people who, help colonize the rest of the system. But basically there's like a weird like class, social, I don't know if it's like, nationalism. I basically called it racist. I called it racism in my notes. It's not really racism, but it's an ism.
It's some sort of ism.
Yeah. But basically, Suletta has to take this test because apparently they do some sort of education at this school, and she's taking this test. But she immediately fails because there's no crew to help her. Nobody explained this to her. They're just like, "Fuck you, you fail." I feel so bad for her. And also, we meet this Earther named Chaudhry Panlunch, who is named Choo Choo. That's her nickname. My headcanon is that she is a Desi, even though she's like a white person, because you don't name your kid Chaudhry unless you're a Desi. So my headcanon is that she's at least somewhat Indian or Pakistani or something like that. So shout outs to Choo Choo. She's great. But basically, she also fails the test because some Spatians like spray some like slow acting like spray that kind of like that triggers when she's like halfway into the middle of her test and obscures her vision, so she can't beat the test. So both her and Suletta have to do a retake. We learned that there's like a bit of character building. We learn like Choo Choo like calls her family back on Earth, and she has like 7 dads or something. I don't know what's going on with Choo Choo. But like, she's just like, they're just like, oh, how are you doing? I know there's a lot of bad stuff going on Earth, but I'm working hard at school to make you proud. And they're just like, don't worry, Choo Choo, you're great. We love you. And similarly, Suletta, is having this conversation with Miorine, and she's like, I came here because there's not a school on Mercury, and I'd love to start a school on Mercury for all the little Mercurians. They treat Mercury like it's like a rural backwater, which is very strange to me. It's an interesting detail to make a planet that is so close to Earth and the sun be like kind of a nothing planet. I think that speaks to the world building in an interesting way. But basically, we have this conversation. Choo Choo overhears it and starts to build sympathy. Basically, there's a bit where Suletta has to ask all the kids from like the Earth district basically to help build her like some sort of rocket. That happens later, but basically,
she says she needs to find a mechanic and a spotter.
Oh, yes.
She goes to Nika at Earth House.
Right. Nika at Earth House is the person who becomes her spotter, I believe.
Well, she asks Nika to become her spotter, but Nika's busy, so she can't. So she introduces her to the rest of Earth House. And that's when Choo Choo comes in and starts doing fucking violence.
Yes.
Because, and you know what? Rightfully so. Because what we've seen is, like, Spatians being just complete assholes to these Earth kids for no good goddamn reason.
Right.
Other than just, like, classism.
There's one bit where Nika is, like, sitting... like in the cafeteria with some of the other Earth friends, and then like the two Spatian girls come up and they're just like, oh, hey, we normally sit here. Can we sit here? And they're like, I guess so. And then Nika says, okay, yeah, I was already done. And one of the Spatians spits her gum into Nika's tray, which still has food on it. And she's like, oh, well, you said you're already done. I was like, holy shit. So yeah, the Spatians suck in this one. And you know what? That's why Choo Choo hates them, because all the Spatians treat the Earthers like shit.
Yeah, so when Guel proposes to Suletta, Choo Choo assumes it's like a lover's quarrel, and that like that's what this whole like series of duels has been about. And so when she sees Suletta in Earth House, she goes apeshit and she's like, never show your face here again. It's only when she realizes that like, hey, I might have something in common with this other extremely ostracized Spatian who's like has so many people relying on her from back home, like, we're the same here. We're both getting attacked by these snobby rich assholes. And then she goes and starts a fist fight, which I think rules.
Yeah, it's really good. She, like, they do the same trick to Suletta that they did to Choo Choo, where they, like, obscure her screen. And so Choo Choo goes and finds the two people who sabotaged them in the bleachers and just, like, beats the fuck out of them, which is awesome. And then they both have to get a remake of their redo test, which is really funny.
It's so good. And, like, the whole time Miorine's there and she's being Suletta's spotter and mechanic, at the same time, she's being both people. So the whole episode is so chaotic because you have these two rich snobs in the corner going, hee, we've sabotaged them again. And then Suletta's like trying to redo this test 400 times, and Miorne is just girl bossing her way through this. This business major's like, I just did some reading on mechanics and spotting overnight, and now I got it, and I can be both people all at once. And she's just girl bossing her way through the apocalypse, and I really love that for her.
It's really cool. I think that this is kind of nice, right? We in a lot of like I would consider this. I don't know if this is a shonen anime, but it kind of falls into the same tropes, which is like happy-go-lucky protagonist that is like inexplicably super powerful and good at fighting, and a cast of characters that help support them in their journey, and like, a lot of homoerotic tension between the protagonist and like kind of an antagonist or sidekick or rival character, except this time the homoerotic tension is intentional, but like, yeah, basically I forgot where I was going with this, but it seems like this falls into a lot of shonen tropes, but is doing them in a way that is good and on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because Suletta and Miorne's relationship at this point is like so weird. They're like friends by circumstance in a funny way.
Right.
So, it's just funny to see Miorne be like, kind of trying to be cooler and kind of above it all, but getting dragged into our protagonist's desire for friendship and eating lunch on the roof and such.
I remember what I was going to say, which is that, in a lot of shonen shows, like, you get, like, the one girl who doesn't do fighting, but, like, her whole deal is to, like, heal and support. But I think Miorine, who like largely does not do any fighting here, is shown to be very competent and skillful in business and, mechanics here. And I really like that they're just like, no, she doesn't do any fighting. She's not a big pilot, but like she's really, really talented in all these other ways, in a way that's not just like, oh, we have to give the girl something.
And not being a pilot, again, does not stop her from trying to get into mechs over and over again, which I respect.
Yeah, shout outs. Anyway, in Ep 5, then we get Elan. He kind of asks Suletta on a date, but basically he just wants to drive Ariel because it turns out, he is like got ulterior motives and he sucks really bad. And we get this conversation where, she's like trying to get to know him and she asks him, like, hey, when's your birthday? Because they're doing this like divination thing where they have like, I don't know if it's like rocks or grains of rice or something, but they like throw some stuff on a board. And she's one of her friends is like, hey, what's the birthday of the person you're thinking about? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I should ask him. And it turns out, he's like, I don't have a birthday. He basically learns that her Gundam is not the same kind of Gundams that he's used to piloting, because it turns out he's from one of the houses that's developing illegal Gundams. And he gets really upset by that because he's an enhanced person, what we would call a witch in this setting. And that means that like he just like is like, well, I guess I have nothing in common with Suletta Mercury after all. Fuck this girl, I hate her, you suck, and I think you're annoying. He like tells her that, and that really hurts her feelings because she was like, oh, I wanted a friend and he's kind of cute, and she's really upset by this. Guel happens to be walking by at the same time, and he's like, why did you make her cry? I'll fucking kill you.
Guel got alerted.
Alerted? Oh, wait, what? How did he get alerted?
Guel got alerted by the fangirls where they're like, oh my god, Ellen asked her on a date, and he was at the gym, and he asks them, where are they? And he follows them. He didn't just walk by.
Oh my god, that's normal.
The fangirls alerted him. Hey, okay, I would like to take umbrage with something. Why do you think Ellen sucks?
Well, I know why he sucks. Because I watched episode 6.
But why does he suck to you?
Because he's mean to Suletta.
Yeah, but he's also like
a prisoner who is a body double. Yeah, he is, and he hurt Suletta's feelings.
And he was hoping that she was like him, and that he could find a friend and some kinship. And then he finds out that she, quote unquote, lifted the curse. So yeah, he feels even more lonely than ever before, and he lashed out.
Yeah, but he hurt Suletta's feelings. Did you miss the part where he hurt Suletta's feelings and made her cry?
Did you miss the part where Suletta is a vehicle for everybody processing their traumas in this narrative?
Listen, spoiler alert, Ellen gets incinerated in the next episode. He does not survive. Oops. Yeah, that's what happens at the end of episode 6. He doesn't make it.
Oh boy. Oopsie, dude. I'm going to be real sad about that.
Yeah, so listen, don't worry, there's more Ellen, just not that particular Ellen.
Yeah, just a different, shittier one.
Yes, correct. That's why I don't like Ellen.
Okay, well, I like the emo one.
The emo one's, he's actually an alright guy, because, basically, Guel challenges Ellen whoops his ass with his cool mech, then
because it's also a Gundam. Yeah.
Because it's also a Gundam, secret Gundam. Ellen then challenges Suletta for Ariel, and they do have a duel. In the meantime, Guel gets disowned by his dad for being really bad at dueling. He has to go live in a tent in the woods.
Yeah. You ever kick your kids out of the family because they're bad at mech duels?
And then say, be grateful I'm paying for your tuition.
God.
Yeah, Guel's dad... Guel has some daddy issues that do get resolved at the end of the season, so that's good.
I'm really happy for him. Sometimes you need a country bumpkin to bash you over the head a couple of times, and then you can think about your trauma from your father.
Yep. But basically, in episode 6, it is revealed that this Ellen is actually like a clone or body double, or he's had his face surgically altered in some way to make him look like the real Ellen, who is a rich guy, I guess.
He's obnoxious.
He sucks really bad.
He sucks so bad.
Basically, he's working with, I think it's Pell Technologies, which is another company that these people are making these illegal Gundams. But they're basically using this, like, basically a hostage to test the Gundams because, he's enhanced. He's an enhanced person. And, these kind of Gundams kill the people who drive them. So that's why they didn't want to have the real Ellen pilot. Anyway, they have this, or Suletta actually goes to talk to him the day before and figure out why he's being so rude to her. He has this conversation, and they don't. It doesn't seem like they're getting along. But then she sings "Happy Birthday" to him because he doesn't have a birthday, like he said, and she wanted him to feel, special. Soletta's my favorite. I love her so much.
She's just a baby. I love her. What a girl.
She's great. There is a cool Gundam duel. Soletta wins. Obviously, this one's pretty cool because I think he has the ability to he might have the ability to negate some of her Gund bits in a way, but she's able to overcome him. She defeats him, and as her reward, she was going to be able to go on a date with him and actually have a conversation about what he's like. But at the end of the episode, it's just her and Miorine, and Miorine is just like, okay, well, I'll see ya. And then there's a clock, and it shows the clock ticking past the time that he was supposed to pick her up. And then it cuts to the Ellen body double strapped to a table, and all the other people at the Pale group being like, well, it's all right, this guy's outlived his usefulness. And then the last thing that he does is I feel like he sings "Happy Birthday" as they shoot a big laser at him and kill him. So that's how that ends.
Well, that's real sad.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's good storytelling. I think the storytelling takes a weird dive after this because there's a lot of factional political business stuff that I found kind of hard to track. And I think that that might just be because I watched all of it in one day. I guess 2 days. I broke it up over Saturday and Sunday. So I think that probably suffered some of it. I wasn't tracking the politics in the various groups, but I do think it gets a little bit boring, but there are some interesting bits. There's a Kickstarter party, which is wild. There's a really cool there's a really good sequence with Miorine and Soletta in the last 2 episodes that I think is really nice. Excuse me. And make sure that you, at the very end of the episode on episode 12, there's 2 minutes after the credits. Make sure you watch that because that's important.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of struggled with it in the second half, but I think this first half is really, really strong.
Yeah, I agree. I was hooked in. I'm halfway through episode 6, so I can't wait to see my favorite boy get incinerated in a couple minutes. That'll be real great.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm glad I had warning.
Yeah. Don't get attached. But yeah, I mean, do you have any big thoughts about the characters? I know there's a lot of characters we didn't talk about.
We got most of them. Basically, I mean, again, it's very interesting that it is very much about feelings, right? Because it's just a story about what happens when the status quo gets interrupted by somebody who actually cares. Right. So it's this mech story about, it's almost like the initial intent of the cathedral agreement or whatever the fuck they call it, where Gundams got banned. It was almost like the initial intent of it was to protect pilots from dying. That's what it looked like on the surface. Mm-hmm. But in reality, then you kind of arrive at this school and it's oh, well, that didn't really matter because you're already stripping the humanity from these kids by making them pawns in a business game. And it's right. This awful cycle of psychological violence that now has to get interrupted by somebody who, in theory, pilots this quote unquote evil machine, right? Who's a witch, but is just coming in brazenly caring about her classmates and, making them kind of take an outside look at their situations. So yeah, real first, strong first half of a show.
Yeah. It's really good. And I mean, that's, if I had more time, I would pull up Austin Walker's big list of what he thinks mech stories are about and things that are important. But a lot of mech stories involve themes such as bodies and scale, and there's a lot of stuff going on for people who are deep into the mecha genre that I think Witch from Mercury is doing very well, right? The battles themselves are always emotional. They're never resolved tactically. It's all about what is going on, between the two pilots. and like the stuff around them and the people that are in their lives, which I think is like kind of the best way to do. Like, I don't know, right? Because I do feel like I would like some more like tactics, like strategy, like a little bit more thought. I'm more than happy to have like a protagonist like use the power of friendship to win at the end of the day. But I do think that overall that is kind of the heart of the mecha genre, is it has to be character driven. You can't have all it can't just all be laser swords and cool shields.
It can't. It does have to be. I mean, I love melodrama and I love personal drama, so this is like right up my alley for now. We'll see about the second half of the season shortly, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, I think Pacific Rim is just such a good example to pull too, because the robots are powered by love. So it's like, the cool thing about these mechs is like, mechanically part of the strategy becomes the interpersonal. So like, with even in the battle we saw between the second duel between Guel and Suletta, you see like, yeah, sure, his family has all these connections and, can get some rain happening to help him cheat and can power his mech for him. But even if he had won, the victory would not be satisfying because he didn't do the piloting and he cheated, and the like trauma of being not trusted by his father despite dedicating his life to becoming the best duelist would hurt him, right? And then on the other hand, you see like this kind of underdog couple, because they care about each other, find ways to win. So that kind of stuff is really satisfying to me. I really like it. But I don't know. I love stories about love and friendship, so.
Yeah. I mean, I that's the thing. I think that in the second half it gets complicated by the politics, and there's a bunch of like secondary characters that kind of get all in the mix, and I kind of wish it had concentrated more on the like interpersonal dealings between the like Earth House people and like the Spatians, and I wish it had been a little bit more focused on the school than like the overall like world politics. But like that is also a big part of Gundam, is my understanding, is that there's always like multiple factions in these wars. So we'll see how it goes. I think that it does come to a pretty interesting end. It does make me excited. I think I'd probably watch whenever the second season comes out. I think I'll probably keep watching it because I am interested to see where it goes. And, this is the first time that I've kind of like really got Gundam to work for me. Maybe we should watch Iron-Blooded Orphans at one point, because that also seems like a show that would really work for us. But, yeah, I don't know. I overall, I really did enjoy this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. For our marketing minute, I mean, just like, if we were to make some sort of mech show, mech story, what are the ingredients we would like to put in to make that interesting? Or, in what ways could we adapt existing tropes to make a mecha story that would really appeal to our core audience, which is, of course, people that are under the age of 30 and over the age of 18.
I don't know. Do you have any initial thoughts?
I wonder if there is something about using this is my most like boomer marketing idea ever, but it's like young people like TikTok. Like there's like the 18 to 23 demographic is really into TikTok these days. But what if we could talk about exploitation? We could talk about how TikTok, encourages everybody to become their own like micro celebrity and tries to encourage like a steady stream of content. I mean, this is true about YouTube to a certain degree as well. But, I was reading that story about how like there was a young person who was like a child star and like had a lot of resentment to her parents because they like kept filming her. And like documenting her like childhood on YouTube, and that like really fucked her up. And I'm wondering if we could do that, but with mechs. Like, what if there was like some sort of social media like aspect to mech dueling and stunts, to like mech pilots are incentivized to become very popular on social media, and that keeps driving them to produce more mech content from a younger age. I think that would get, that's at least an episode of Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some mech influencers, and then there's like a whole industry of like mech cosmetic customization.
The mecha beauty industry.
That
sounds terrible. That sounds like the worst thing in the world.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I would like this to be centered around the like scrappy, I guess. I want a group of like, I want a mech beauty salon.
Okay.
I want that to be part of this. I want a scrappy group of underdogs who learned all that they know about mech beautification from social media. I want them to discover the horrors of war that they've been perpetuating.
So when you say mech beauty salon, are they like beautifying the mechs or the pilots?
They're beautifying the mechs, baby. They got stencils, they got decals, they got techniques.
Yeah, so these are like engineers. Like they run a garage that's essentially a beauty salon.
Yes.
This is interesting. This is an interesting take. Because like, that would be great if like we, the first episode is like, we see them at their work, and then like in the middle, like they have to come back and like clean blood out of a chair and be like, hey, what? Oh no, war.
Yeah, I want it has to be the one scrappy protagonist who's like shocked by the blood, and the rest of them are so desensitized, and it's a journey back to like reconnecting with the perils and the actual human cost of war.
Okay, yeah. So Crunchyroll, Netflix toy. We'll start the bidding at, let's say, 1.5 mil. We're honestly, this is just, I'll do the script writing, and me and Leyla will take over that. We'll start at 1.5 mil. You can at us at mortifiedpod@gmail.com. Just let my agent know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is gonna be the next big hit.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
That's the fucking usual out of this segment.
God, we cranking out these brilliant ideas a mile a minute. No one paying any. Disney. Bob, I know you're listening. Leyla, when we are not harassing Bob Iger to give us millions of dollars, which we are always doing, where can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSES on Twitter and Tumblr, mostly on Tumblr. I am back on Twitter for a limited time engagement. We're recording this a week early because of some scheduling shenanigans. So what will be this week, only because I am at the Game Developers Conference and looking to connect with my fellow game developers. So I'll be slightly more active on Twitter than usual. Aaron?
Also, I guess if you know me from tabletops and you're going to GDC, say hi to Leyla for me, I guess.
Say hi to me! I'm the one with the pink hair, and I look like Cher from Clueless rolled into a Hot Topic and had a bad accident there. That's generally... That's a
compliment.
my dress style. Yeah, and hey, I will pull out Discord in real time, and I will say hello to Aaron for you.
Excellent. Remember, you can find me at AaronSXL on Twitter and at aavoigt.com, where I talk about tabletop RPGs, health policy, and writing. I also have a YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@aavoigt, I think. That's how YouTube does their URLs these days. Anyway, I have a new tabletop review of Far RPG's Stoneburner, which is going to be cool. It's coming to Kickstarter. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla.
Mm-hmm.
What do we always say to end the episode?
Will you marry me?
We'll see you all next week.